Okay, we're live. Hello and welcome everybody. This is a Verbling class. If you've never been to Verbling before, welcome. If you have, welcome back. And today's class is one of a series in my Best of British Culture, which I haven't done for a long time. I was researching, trying to find some interesting ideas for classes, and I found this article from National Geographic about Marden Henge, which is something I had never heard of before. I think probably all of us have heard of Stonehenge, which is a very, very famous monument in the UK. And Marden Henge is something related but different. So today what we're going to do is read an article to improve our pronunciation reading and have a talk about this crazy feature of the UK and also about some interesting archaeological features, ancient or modern, of your country. So what amazing things are there in your country to go and see if we want to come and visit? Do you have any really ancient archaeological amazing buildings? Do you have any special things that you can't find anywhere else in the world? If you do, we want to hear about them. So while we're waiting for everybody to get here, as always, I'd just like to remind you that you can visit any of the Verbling teacher pages in order to find out more about any of the Verbling teachers. So if you click on the link that you'll see in the chat box, you can visit my teacher page and find out more about me. And if you want to find out more about any of the other teachers, then you can visit their teacher pages. Basically, you can look at our introductory videos, you can watch some class excerpts, you can see our timetable. If you're interested in attending any more classes with a particular teacher, you can go and see those classes on their schedule. And if you're interested in having a private one-on-one tutoring session with any of the teachers, then you can book straight from the Verbling teacher page. So it's a really useful page to look at. If you like Facebook, you might want to like me or any of the other teachers on Facebook as well, and that is the second of the two links that you can see. So let's say hello to the students, and we're going to find out where everybody's from, so that if you're watching this on YouTube, you know which countries we're discussing. And then we're going to talk about if there's anything interesting in your country to share about architecture with us, or archaeology, or a mixture. So, first of all, let's say hello to Martin. How are you today, Martin?
Fine, thank you.
Brilliant. Are you having a good week? For me, it's Friday. Yes. Yay! So, how's your...
The weather is so nice here.
Awesome.
So, yes, and it's going to continue the weekend as well.
Oh, well, that is a great weekend to look forward to, but in that case. That's awesome, Martin. So, Martin, I know where you're from, but could you tell everybody else?
I'm from Denmark, I live in Copenhagen.
Okay, excellent. Tell us about anything interesting in Denmark from the point of view of archaeology or architecture. Is there anything interesting?
Well, I would say the Viking exhibitions, we have several museums which will show old Viking ships, and we also have several places where you have an old Viking fort or so. You can see the walls around the village they've had and the buildings they've had. So that is quite a nice place to visit.
Yes.
The Viking Museum is only 40 kilometers from Copenhagen, and if you drive a bit further, you can see one of those old Viking forts.
Awesome. That just sounds so cool to me. I remember when I was at primary school, I learned about the Vikings, and I found them really fascinating for some reason. Can you tell us who the Vikings actually were?
Well, the Vikings, originally they were farmers, but in the year 700-800 in Norway and Sweden and Denmark, they started to move around. And then 850 or so, the Vikings had conquered more or less half of the UK, also in Ireland, and they also went to Russia, down to the rivers in Russia, and in fact going down to Greece. And I think in 2066, then the Normans invaded Britain. The Normans were Vikings who were originally situated in France, and they were just getting like the French there, assimilated there, and then they came back to England again and conquered Britain. And the Danish, the Norwegian language, the Scandinavian language has evaded the British language quite a lot. Indeed, some researchers nowadays say that, in fact, English is a sort of originally a Scandinavian language.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thank you, Martin. You're very knowledgeable on the subject. And yes, it's something that we definitely learn about in history in the UK. Just a note that that year is we call it 1066. It's obviously a really famous year for us because we were invaded. So we call it 1066 generally. And I think every child at primary school will know that date. It's one of those special dates. All right, thank you, Martin. It's great to have you. Welcome. Natasha, hello. How are you today? Are you there today?
Hello. Yeah. Hello. It's good to see you. I have had a nice day today, but it was a really regular day without something special situation or special interesting things.
All right, so a regular day.
Yeah, absolutely right.
All right, well, it's lovely to have you, Natasha. Could you tell us which country you're from and also any interesting archaeology that can be found in your country?
Okay, sure. I am from Belarus, and in my country there are the same. I mean, at the same time we have old-fashioned buildings and modern buildings as well, because after Second War, almost all buildings were destroyed, and really not very much buildings were preserved during those situations. So I wanted to say that some of the oldest buildings of Belarus date from the Middle Ages, and religion have played their part in shaping the architecture of Belarus. And we have really fine example of Romanesque and Gothic style, Baroque, Classicism, and so on.
Wow, so there's a lot of different types of architecture to be found in Belarus by the sounds of things, Natasha.
Yeah.
Are there any?
Yeah.
I was just going to ask, are there any special museums or tours or like kind of programs that help you understand what sort of architecture you're looking at?
No. We cannot something special museum only in the capital of our country. Our country we have state museum, but I can't say that it's something special in there. But we have some castle across Belarus, and there people can to see really very old. I mean that they can see oldest things about our history, and their guides told about history of Belarus, and the most famous persons were lived there.
All right. Wow, thank you, Natasha. So Belarus is probably a country that I don't really know very much about, so thank you for introducing it so well. And welcome to the class.
Thank you.
Okay, who's next? It's Maria. Hello, Maria. How are you today?
Hello, fine, and you?
Yeah, I'm great, thank you. So, Maria, it's your turn. Could you tell us which country you're from? And then any kind of architecture or archaeology that's interesting to see in your country.
I am from Spain, and I think that the most important archaeology is, I don't know if you know, the Altamira caves.
Okay.
The Altamira
caves
is a... Well, it is very difficult to explain in English. because of the wars. It is a caves painted by people prehistoric people.
Yeah.
Yes, and it is very famous because the paintings are. It is difficult.
You're doing great, Maria. Keep going.
Yes,
We're
yes,
excited to
yes.
hear.
Sorry, the paintings are so. I don't know what is the word. Are very conservative.
Yeah.
They're very conservative, and you can see why this America, well, how these prehistoric people dry in the caves.
Draw.
Draw, sorry.
Yeah. Awesome. That is really fascinating. Actually, that's something that I've wanted to go to see for a long time, but I think it's quite difficult to actually see those caves, isn't it, Maria? Does it always? I think it's quite hard for tourists to go there or something.
Yes, yes, I saw them, and it is very difficult.
All right, but worth it, I imagine.
Yes, but these caves are so very old. I think that is one of the oldest caves, prehistoric caves in Europe.
Wow. So if prehistoric stuff interests you, then you definitely have to go and see the Altamira caves in Spain.
Yes.
Thank you, Maria. Very interesting. Awesome.
Welcome.
Great to have you today. Ksenia, good morning or good evening.
Hello. Hello.
How are you today?
I'm fine, as usual.
Excellent. As usual, yeah, that's true. So, Ksenia, your turn. So, could you tell us where are you from, and what interesting archaeology might there be to see in your country?
I'm from Russia, and I think you can see all stuff, what you want to see in our country, from their mammoth history, his bones, to some curves with drawings of ancient people. I think
Okay.
anything.
So, there's a lot of stuff to see in Russia. And what would you recommend, Ksenia, or what do you think is the most interesting thing?
Actually, it's not my cup of tea at all, because
History's not really.
I don't like history. But I think it's what you're interested in, so you should think about and then search in the internet and then go to this place.
Excellent.
It's very
Good
difficult.
advice.
Yes. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, Ksenia. Welcome. It's good to have you.
Thank you.
Anna, hello. How are you today? Are you there?
Hi. Sorry.
That's
I'm
okay.
fine. Thank you for asking.
Wonderful. So, same question for you, Anna. Where are you from, and what is there of interest to see in your country?
I'm from Brazil, and my country is huge and diverse, and we have everything that you can imagine in just one country. You can even get a culture shock by traveling inside my own country.
Wow.
Because it's very different when you go to the south of my country and when you go to the northeast or to the north. You know, people behave different. They have different things. In the north of Brazil, you have the Amazon rainforest and you can enjoy nature. You can see plenty of animals in their habitats. If you go to the southwest, you can feast your eyes on some architectural amazing buildings by the famous architecture Oscar Niemeyer.
Yeah.
You know, if you go to the middle west of Brazil, you can see the National Congress, which was designed by Oscar Niemeyer as well. We have plenty of beaches and The water is crystal clear in some places, such as in my town, where we have 365 islands. There is a place called the Valley in the south of Brazil. It's like a mini canyon there, where you can see a lot of rocks and so on. We have some natural reserves, such as Fernando de Noronha in the northeast of Brazil, and you can see dolphins, coral reefs. We have so many things to see, so many touristic attractions that I can speak forever in your class, and it wouldn't be enough, you know.
Well, that's an excellent advert for your country, Anna. So all I've put for your country is diversity, because I think, yeah, you've mentioned lots and lots of things, so thank you. That's awesome. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to read about this place called Marden Henge, which I'm just wondering, has anyone ever heard of this place? Oh. Do you guys know what Stonehenge is? Would anyone like to tell me what Stonehenge is?
Yeah, Stonehenge, that's a henge. A henge is just a round circle made of either wood or stone.
Mm-hmm.
And Stonehenge is quite a magnificent place to go to see. I've been there 2 times, and it has been renovated recently, so it's very nicely done with the visitor center, very nice and very nicely presented.
All right, thank you, Martin. So this is actually relatively near where I'm from in the UK, not too far, and it's basically a prehistoric. No, it's not prehistoric actually. Yes, I think it is. It's from between 2000 and 3000 BC, and basically nobody actually knows what exactly it is. It's basically a circle of huge stones, and it's just pretty amazing. It's, you know, not particularly. It's very unusual. One of those things that you can find, you know, in other places around the world. But I didn't know anything about this other place called Marden Henge. So that's what we're going to read about today. So if you'd like to click on the link, you're welcome to. I think Ahmed is trying to join us, but are you there, Ahmed? Hello, Ahmed? No, I think he might be struggling a bit with his connection or something today. All right, Ahmed, we will come back to you and say hello in a moment. Hopefully you can get your connection sorted out. All right, so Martin, since you've introduced Stonehenge to us, could you read the title and the little line underneath?
This ancient British monument was 10 times bigger than Stonehenge. As they excavate the site, archaeologists search for clues about what caused an insane building boom in Stone Age Britain.
Excellent. So it's hard to imagine, you know, prehistoric men running around building things, but that is exactly what they did. And you can see this rather typical picture of British countryside, and this is the location of Marden Henge. Could you read this for us, please, Martin?
Yeah. Ripples in the landscape reveal the remains of Marden Henge, the largest henge or circular earthworks in Britain. Built some 4,500 years ago, its walls stood 10 feet high and enclosed an area of nearly 48 acres.
Thank you. So once you've read that, you can see in the picture that these kind of indentations in the land are what remains of what used to be Marden Henge, and it is a very large area. So let's read about it. Thank you for starting us off, Martin. I'll go to Natasha now.
Okay. I'm sorry. Pepsi, Vale.
Pusey.
Pusey Vale. Thank you. England, the sheer size of Marden Henge makes it hard to notice from the ground, even when you are standing in the middle of it. Its massive earthen berms, once 10 feet high and encircling near 30 acres, have gradually slumped over the millennia. Its fertile soil has been heavily plowed by farmers, grazed by cattle and sheep, and overrun in places by sedge, nettle, and stately oaks. When you look around the Henge today on a fine summer day, it appears to be nothing more than peaceful, undulating farmland.
Thank you, Natasha. This one here is undulating.
Undulating.
Yes. Okay, so there might be some vocabulary that we need to talk about in this section. Does anyone want to ask any questions? No?
No.
Yes, what is shear?
That's a good one. Let me have a look. The shear size. Could anyone explain what shear means here?
It's like clear size.
I'm not sure, but I believe it's a intensifier.
Yes, that's right, Anna. It is, and it basically means that something is very, very important, big, powerful, completely something. So the shear size means that it's really, 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 really big, because shear is the intensifier and size is what we're talking about. So well done. Any other questions?
What is berms?
Berms, good question actually, Maria. I didn't know what this was either, but I'm assuming that it is the stones that make up the henge, those
Okay.
massive stones. Yeah. Because it describes them as 10 feet high. Everything else okay?
What is henge?
Okay, so a henge is the name of
Vale.
the actual circle of stones, basically, which aren't there any longer, but they are with Stonehenge. So that's it's a word that means like the circle of stones for this particular thing. Okay. Before we carry on reading, if you just look at the map to the left, you can see where these henges are located. So this is actually the area of the country where I'm from. I'm just a bit further south. And you can see Stonehenge here is just north of Salisbury, which is also famous for its cathedral. But if you keep going up, you can get to Marden Henge. So they're not far from each other. And if you ever want to go to the UK, it's a really interesting place to visit if you like history. So, Natasha, you've read. Maria, your turn. No one knows.
Me again?
No, sorry, Natasha, I meant Maria.
Okay.
Sorry. No one knows why Marden Henge was built, or what caused the first construction boom that produced it and other Neolithic monuments, including Stonehenge, Avebury, Darrington Walls, and Salisbury Hill, located within a few miles of each other along the River Avon. It is an ancient riddle that Jean Lurie, director of the Archeology Field School at the University of Reading, hopes to help solve.
Thank you, Maria. A few words to go over. So this one here is frenzied.
Frenzied. Okay.
Yep. And then this one is miles.
Miles.
Which is what we use in the UK instead of kilometers. And this one's pronounced ancient.
Ancient. Okay.
Great. Thank you, Maria. Okay. So questions about vocabulary?
What is frenzied?
Frenzied.
Frenzied. Yeah, sorry, I forgot.
That's okay. It's a tricky one. What does frenzied mean? Anybody?
Actually, an insane construction.
Yeah, exactly. It's like if you're in a frenzy, it means that you are very excited. Your behavior is a bit uncontrollable. You're rushing around doing crazy things.
Like Will or crazy.
A
Will.
little bit. Wild. Wild. Yeah, wild isn't a bad synonym. Any other questions? Do we know what a riddle is?
No.
Yes.
What is?
May I?
Yes.
Teacher, I'm not sure, but when you see the movie Batman, you
Yes.
know, his enemy always says riddle it. So riddle is when you have to guess. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yep. Yeah, absolutely right, Anna. A riddle is basically, well, first of all, it can be like a kind of a game, a type of a question that you might, you ask at Christmas or something, which basically describes some kind of a story or some kind of a situation in a clever way that you have to try and solve by thinking in like maybe thinking laterally or thinking differently. That's one way that riddle is used. But the other way is basically just for like a problem or something difficult to figure out, which is what we're saying here, basically. All right, so thank you, Maria. I'm just going to say hello to Adela, who's just joined us. Welcome, Adela.
Hello, I'm double, I think.
You are double. But that's
Yeah,
all right.
no?
The other one of you will probably disappear at some point. And if you'd like to join us, you're welcome to just... We haven't read much. Just click on the link and you can catch up.
It's a problem.
And Ahmed, I hope that you're still there. Are you with us, Ahmed?
Yeah, I'm here now.
Oh, wonderful. Welcome. It's good to see you.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll carry on reading. If we have time at the end, we'll come back to you two to tell us about your country. It must be Ksenia's turn. Could you read up until the Stone Age bling, please, Ksenia?
Yes. Last month, Larry, in partnership with Historic England, launched a 3-year excavation of Marden Henge. Despite its massive size, the site has attracted little attention from archaeologists, who have tended to focus on more visually gripping monuments. Not nearly enough attention has been paid to the archaeology of the fertile valley in between these places, says Larry, whose excavations this summer and in 2010 have been the only ones at Madden since the late 1960s.
Beautiful reading. Thank you, Ksenia. Any questions? No? Okay. Let's continue. So, it's Carolina. Oh, welcome. I'm sorry, I haven't said hello to you either.
Hello, teacher.
Hello. Would you like to read?
Of course.
Thank you.
Okay.
From Stone Age Bling.
Okay. Stone Age Bling. Already the site has been repairing latest efforts with the discovery of an early Bronze Age barrier and a trove of artifacts for a rare, well-preserved stone building in the heart of the age. The artifacts include beautifully crafted arrowheads that seem to have been made purely for show. Neolithic Bling.
Thank you. This word here is pronounced efforts.
Efforts.
Yes, that's right. So
Without
the emphasis is on the first syllable, okay? And this one is burial.
Burial.
Yes. Well done. Okay, any questions
Mm-mm.
from anybody else? No?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
meaning of truth, and I missed it. And the hinge.
Okay, so the henge is what we're talking about in this lesson. It's basically a big circle of stones. That's the name of it. So we've got Stonehenge, the very famous one, and today we're talking about Marden Henge. Does anybody know what a trove is? We often use it along with the word treasure to say a treasure trove.
When you find it, finally.
Yes, well, it's almost, Ksenia, yeah. A trove is like a place or a thing that is full of something valuable or good. So it's actually talking about like the chest or the place where you find the treasure. It could also be something like information. It doesn't have to be gold or actual tangible objects. So there's a picture of some excavation going on. And Ksenia, could you read this for us, the caption?
Archaeologists uncovered a Bronze Age burial at Henge, a much smaller head just outside the walls of Marden. The skeleton, though to be that of a teenager, was buried with an amber necklace around 4,000 years ago.
Wow. All right. Thank you. Right. Anna, your turn to read. Could you read this part here, please?
The skeleton, apparently that of a young teenager, about 5 feet tall, was unearthed, unearthed, unearthed just outside the main embankment of Marden Henge, in a smaller enclosure known as Wilsford Henge. He or she, the sex is undetermined as yet, was buried with an amber necklace about 4,000 years ago, a time that postdates by a few centuries the glory days of Marden Henge. What this burial highlights is how important these Neolithic monuments continued to be in the Bronze Age Leary. Presumably, they retained a certain sanctity as an appropriate place to bury the dead.
Perfect. Thank you, Anna. This one here that you got right and struggled a bit with, unearthed. Unearthed.
Unearthed.
Yes. Okay. Any questions? No? I just want to ask, who shall I ask? Martin. Could you just explain to us, Martin, in your own words, what the finding of this skeleton really means?
Well, the finding of a skeleton means that you guess that the place has been a burial site for the people living there, and I think that's all you can say about that, isn't it? And of course,
Yeah.
if you can maybe examine the parts of the skeleton a bit, then you might try to find out what sort of people it was.
Yep, absolutely. I think also they mentioned that, and this is probably true of a lot of ancient places, maybe modern places too, that somewhere where people are buried has some kind of special significance usually. So it's sort of a marker that somewhere has been important to a society. I think maybe with indigenous people, I don't know about others of you who have indigenous people in your country, but certainly in New Zealand, the indigenous burial sites are always sites of special significance for the Maori people, and they're like sacred land for some reason or another, and a lot of them have like interesting myths attached to them and things. So I think this is probably true too for these people. Okay, who are we up to? We're up to Ahmed, the stone building.
Okay, the stone building was constructed of chalk blocks quarried several miles away and dragged to the site. It seems to have been the scene of feasting on a lavish scale, judging by the prodigious amount of big bones found beside it. We found the remains of at least 13 pigs so far, says Laurie, and that's just in one small area. We are talking about a lot of meat here. This would have been a big deal.
Great, thank you, Ahmed. Really well read. Could you just read this caption as well so we know what this picture is?
Yeah, a polished stone axe was among the artifacts found at Marden Henge. The stone is not local to the area, suggesting it may have been a trade item and that the people who used it were mobile and connected to other social groups.
Thank you. Beautifully read today, Ahmed. Does anyone have any questions about any of those words?
Yeah,
Yes.
prodigious.
All right, so we'll go for Ahmed's one first, Maria. So this one's prodigious. What does prodigious mean?
Amazing.
I like your succinct answers, Ksenia. Yeah, exactly. Extremely good.
Incredible.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that. Amazing, incredible, extremely impressive. Yeah. Any other questions? Maria, was that your question or did you have another one?
What is chalk?
Chalk. This one here.
Yes.
Chalk, and I refrain from telling you in Spanish. It's like white stuff that you can use to draw with on a blackboard. That
Vale, yes, I know.
Yeah.
I understand.
All right, excellent, well done. Any other questions? No? Okay. In that case, it must be Adela's turn to read. Smokehouse or Sweat Lodge? Adela?
Okay, a smokehouse or sweat lodge. A layer of ash near the center of the building indicates a very hot fire was kept burning here for long periods of time. It may have been for roasting the many pigs, or possibly for firing bruised sarsen that were found nearby and whose minerals show sign of having been repeatedly heated white hot. This was no mean fire they had, says Elspeth St. John's Brock, a PhD student in geoarchaeology at the University of Reading. She is doing geochemical analysis of trace elements and isotopes found in the earthen floor to try to determine its use. It scorched the ground beneath it to a depth of several inches. It would have been very hot inside there.
Great. Well done, Adela. You had some tricky words in here. Let's just go over a couple of them. This one here is layer.
Layer.
Well done. This one is not the h, but the hard, like, j sound in English. Geochemical.
Geochemical.
Yeah. And this one is inches.
Inches.
Inches, the plural. Yep, the singular is inch.
Yes.
Brilliant. Okay, questions?
Yeah, I didn't get the meaning of the head of the topic. Smokehouse or sweet lodge?
Ah, okay, good question. So you don't know what a smokehouse or a sweat lodge is, Ahmed, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so can anyone explain either of those or both of those?
A smokehouse, if you would preserve, say, fish, you would smoke it, and then you would get smoked eel, for example. And the sweat lodge is a place where it could be a tent with a fire in it, and when you get in there, it will be very hot, and you will start to sweat.
Thank
The
you, Martin.
Indians in US used to have sweat lodges.
Yes, it's basically like an ancient sauna, right? Which you
Yes,
can
a
find at a
spa.
gym. Hmm.
Yes.
So it's a place that you go to purposefully sweat and supposedly release all your toxins. And as Martin says rightly, it's a smokehouse is somewhere used to smoke food so that it can be preserved. Any other questions? No? Alright, so here we can see the team of archaeologists. I've always found these people to be very admirable because I would just absolutely hate that job, sitting around in dirt and brushing things, trying to figure out what's interesting and what's just mud. But I'm very grateful to them because we find out so many fascinating things after they've done it. Ahmed, could you read this caption, please?
Okay, fields of barley surround the excavation at Wellsford Henge. The rich soil here has been cultivated almost continuously since Neolithic times.
Beautiful. Nobody wants to read?
Me,
Okay, thank you.
one interpretation. One interpretation is that the building might have. Oh, sorry. Okay. One interpretation is that the building may have served as a kind of sweat lodge where initiates or celebrants were cleansed before participating in ceremonies. Another, more prosaic, explanation is that it could have been a smokehouse where hog roasts were prepared for fasting. John Brooke is intrigued by a third possibility. With the dawn of the Bronze Age just over the horizon, this may be where people of the late Neolithic era made the first tentative attempt to smelt metal. It would be huge if that were the case, she says, and it is something we should be able to establish. If that's what they were doing here, the markers should be pretty obvious in the soil.
Thank you. Beautiful. Just a few really, really tricky ones, Maria. So firstly, this one, prosaic.
Prosaic.
Yeah, well done. Feasting.
Feasting.
This one in English is horizon.
Horizon. Because I have a problem. If the English words are very similar to the Spanish words, I pronounce in Spanish, sorry.
Yes, that's a common problem, Maria. Don't worry about it. It just takes a long time to figure out all the English pronunciations. It's a lot easier for English speakers turning to Spanish, I can tell you. So well done. So that one, I'll repeat it for you. It's horizon, okay?
Horizon.
Yeah. And then this one is era rather than well, you can say era. A lot of Americans say that, but generally in the UK we say era, okay?
Okay, era.
Right. Questions.
What is prosaic?
Good question. Anyone know?
We might say boring, maybe.
Yeah. Basically, it does mean boring. Uninteresting, maybe not so much as boring. Which is, you could argue the same thing. But just not as interesting as some other things that could be possible. Yeah. Any other words?
What is fasting or
feasting?
Feasting.
Yeah, good question. This is a great thing. What's feasting?
Vale, I know.
Yeah?
Maybe funny.
Sorry, Adela, what did you say?
Maybe party or
Yeah, it's a
festival.
party. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. A big
Festival.
party which involves a lot of food. A feast is to do with having a lot of food. So you tend to have like a feast at Christmas, for example, because it's some time of the year that you spend more on food.
You
Any
can,
other?
it's same in Spanish, festín.
Yes. It is very similar.
So that's a very similar word.
In Spanish, festín.
Yes. So that's easy for you guys to, well, Spanish speakers, to remember. Any other questions? No? All right, thank you, Maria. Would anyone else like to read a little bit longer?
May I?
Yes.
All right, so we'll split it between Anna and Martin. So Anna, you go first.
Okay. Building boom, utterly unsustainable. Certainly, something big was going on in this part of Britain during the late Neolithic era to have prompted the rush of monument building and outpouring of wealth.
Great, thank you, Anna. And we'll just scroll down past that picture and you can read the caption for us.
Sheep graze on the Needles around Avebury, one of the most famous Neolithic monuments in Britain.
And could you carry on one more paragraph, Anna?
It was insane, utterly unsustainable, says Leary. We tend to think of people during the Neolithic as somehow being at one with their environment, but they appear to have been just as bad as we are. They were clearing, filling, digging, and consuming their environment at an unsustainable rate in building these huge projects.
Thank you. So just a couple of words, Anna. That was really well read. This one here is prompted.
Okay, prompted.
Great. This one is not feeling, but felling. Felling.
Oh, yes, sorry. Felling.
Well done. And this one is consuming.
Thank you. Consuming.
Beautiful. Okay, so I'll scroll up and down between these two bits. Any questions about the building boom section? No?
Yeah, the meaning of prompt.
Prompted. What does to prompt mean? Anyone know?
Prompt is something that has its origin right now. No, well, sorry, no. The me is Spanish, no English.
Thank you, Maria. It's actually, yeah, okay, go ahead, Anna.
Encouraged.
Yeah, it's basically the same as to make something happen, to encourage something else to happen. So it's, they don't exactly know what it was, but something encouraged this really kind of hurried monument building period and spending a lot of time and effort making these strange things. Any other questions about the next bit? No? All right, so Martin, could you finish it off for us, please, from religious fervour?
Religious fervor may have played a role, says Leary, or perhaps a desire by increasingly hierarchical communities of their leaders to flaunt their wealth and ability to mobilize a huge workforce. How many man-hours it would have taken to build Marden Henge, digging with picks made of bone and antler and using woven baskets to carry away the soil, is anyone's guess, but the figure would be huge and a clear indication of the site's importance. For all the attention that has been lavished on Stonehenge over the years, says Larry, we may well find out that Marden was where it was really at during the Neolithic.
Great. Thank you, Martin. You had a struggle with this one here.
Yeah.
This one's a bit tricky. So it's hierarchical. Hierarchical.
Hierarchical. Yeah.
Well done. I like the last sentence in this. Marden was where it was really at. We usually use this when we're talking about like a party or something. So where's the party at? It's like a really colloquial way of saying where the center of things is, like where something's really happening. So, any other questions about what Martin has read? No? All right. So, Adela and Ahmed, because you joined us a little bit later as after we'd started reading, we were asking everybody at the beginning of class, or I was, just if you can tell us where you're from and something of archaeological or architectural interest in your country. So if you have a look at the chat box, you can see that Martin spoke about the Vikings in Denmark, and Natasha spoke about really diverse architecture in Belarus, and Maria spoke about the Altamira caves in Spain. And Ksenia told us that you can see pretty much anything in Russia, but some of the things are cave painting and maths. And Anna told us Brazil is really, really diverse depending on which part of Brazil you go to. So Ahmed, can you tell us about where you're from and what is interesting to see there in this type of area of humanity?
Okay, I'm from Egypt.
Yep.
And about a famous archaeological work in Egypt. I think Egypt is famous for pyramids.
Yes.
And also many scientists try to discover many tombs, digging for it. That's all.
Yes, well, I think you have to be in one of the most famous countries for ancient history in the world, right, Ahmed? Have you visited the pyramids yourself?
Yeah, sure.
And what is it like? Is it very impressive when you get there?
Yeah, it's very impressive. Just when you look at it, you wonder how these old people build this big building without any special tools.
Yes. We would tend to call them ancient people rather than old people, Ahmed, because old people are like, 90, 80, that kind of in years old. Ancient people are those people who lived a long time ago.
Okay.
So I don't think they were old people, because they wouldn't have been able to move the stones. They probably would have had to have been young men. But yeah, absolutely. The pyramids is one of those things that I desperately want to go and see one day. I've always found them really, really incredible. So thank you for sharing, Ahmed. And Adela, last but not least, can you tell us, where are you from and what is there to see in your country?
I'm from Spain. I think an important place is in Burgos, in Atapuerca.
What? Sorry, I missed that, Adela, because there's a kind of funny noise. What did you say?
Atapuerca, in Burgos.
And what is that?
This is a place they have found hominid about 800,000 years ago. This is an important place for archaeological place, I think.
Okay.
In the development to the human race, to have the pre-men because it's hominid. It's not same.
It's not a human. It's a predecessor.
No,
I think you might be trying to say.
Yes. I can't explain in English. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're doing really, really well. So it's a predecessor of a human. It's very, very ancient, a hominid. I'm
Yes,
not
it's
sure if
an
I spelled it right.
homo. It's an homo. It's not Homo sapiens. It's Homo antecessor.
Okay.
Oh,
Wow,
I
that's
think
fascinating. Have you been yourself, Adela?
I'm being near because I don't. I put into the excavation because it's closed in this moment. But I visit the museum, etc.
Wow, that's
Yes, it's
amazing.
interesting.
So are they trying to redo it? Why is it closed? Are they kind of making renovations or?
No, because it's not. It's very. It's a period to do something, and we can hear to the Saint James way. Is not stay on the city. It's only up, up stopped on the travel. In this moment is closed.
Okay.
It's not possible.
All right, but maybe at some point it will be available again, hopefully, because that sounds
Yes.
really fascinating. All right, well, guys, it's time to finish off. Thank you very much for joining me today. It's been so interesting finding out about your countries. There's some things I definitely didn't know about. So hopefully if you're watching this on YouTube and you're planning a trip to one of these countries, you can stop by and see the Vikings or the hominid or any of the other interesting things from today's class. I hope you had a great class. Have a wonderful weekend if I don't see you again. If you would like to practice your writing, then join me next lesson. Otherwise, I will hopefully see you next week. See you later.
See you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. See you later.
See
Bye.
you. Bye.